What is going on? Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. This is a live recording of episode 106 of the Client by Client podcast. Today on the podcast, in the live feed, or a couple episodes ahead here, let's see. August 29th, group coaching mistakes costing you clients every single month. Episode 97 just went live. You can get that in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or in your favorite podcast player by going to pod.link/clients. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the magic of a solo coaching business. Let's just hop in and let's crack into this together. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the last episode, episode 105, we did a little clarification, maybe a little evolution on my stance and what I mean by when I say one offer. You see, there are 7 ones of a successful online coaching business. One of them is one offer. And so on yesterday's episode, I thought it would be good to just clarify exactly what I mean by when I say one offer, in conjunction with what we talk about with the episode before it, in episode 104, about the 4 money buckets of online coaching. So these go hand in hand, and these are going to help you get really clear on how to effectively manage your game of promotions, manage your game of how you attract in revenue through different sources in your online coaching business, the art of this dance that goes along with it. And I want to build up on that on today's episode. So be sure to backtrack to the last 2 episodes, important ones with what we're going to be talking about over these next couple. And when I say couple, probably these from episode 100 to 200, we're going to really have a theme here of what we're talking about in these last 2, including this 3 episodes. And in today's episode, I want to talk about running a solo coaching business. And the reason why I want to talk about it, let's just get right into it, is because there is a pressure in the online entrepreneurship, in the online business space to scale. There is a pressure and almost a sense that if you're going to be starting a business, that you should have the ambitions. There's that should word that we've talked about in the past, that you should get to a certain revenue point. Maybe it's $10K a month. Maybe it's $1 million a year. Maybe it's $10 million a year. There's a pressure that you must have a team. There's a pressure that you must be running ads. There's a pressure that you must look and sound and be a certain way, and that your website, that you should have a website, and that your website should look a certain way. And there's this pressure for never-ending constant growth. And I think that the counterbalance to that argument, and to relieve the pressure from some of you, is to really find what your goal and what your vision and what your God-given, your soul-driven and soul-inspired purpose and mission is as an online coach. If your ambitions are to have team and scale and complexity and all of those things, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're under $1 million a year, you are still in the right place by tuning into this show and by following what I have for you in the Leverage Coach group and what I post on social media and everything I share via email and through video. If you want to scale and you're not there yet, this is 100% the right place for you. But I would also add that if you have ambitions of just getting to $1, $3, or even $5 million, your first collected revenue, and then in a year, I would say that you're also still in the right place. And I would add that you can totally get there without the need for teams, without the need for ads, and without the need for a ton of tech and complexity. So kind of thing number 1 here is that we have to acknowledge there is a pressure to scale. And whenever there is a pressure, my mom used to always say, when I wanted to do something that the other kids were doing, or my older cousins or my sister or whoever, she would say, well, if they wanted to jump off of a bridge, would you want to do that too? Or something to that effect. If everyone was jumping off a bridge, would you be next? And so it's driven in this constant questioning for me with wherever everyone is going. I now have this built-in mechanism, not to say that I don't always follow that path, because sometimes the masses are right, but I have this built-in mechanism within me to question when everyone is doing one thing. And I've had this lingering in my mind, and maybe you've had it too, or maybe I'm pulling this thing to the surface, that just because everyone wants something, that doesn't have to be the exact same thing that you have. You don't have to have a whole team of setters. You don't have to have copywriters. You don't have to have a whole team of people editing and doing your stuff and sharing 280 pieces of content a day out to social media. You don't have to. Maybe you have different goals. Maybe you have different visions. And maybe, though, maybe no one's brought this to your attention. And so maybe you think that that is the only way. Thing number one is there is this pressure, and we have to acknowledge it. And we have to acknowledge that maybe it's not the path we necessarily want to or even need to go to get to where we want to be in online business and to get to where we want to be as coaches and get to where we want to be in life. Second, I think this deserves posing the question every year, maybe every quarter, every month, for some of you every week, for many of you every day, of asking yourself until you get the real answer from your own heart of what do you want? What is your goal? Why are you doing all of this? And for the overwhelming majority of you, your life changes at $15K a month. That's really the point where you can, with all confidence, when you've done that 3 months in a row and you have this confidence about you and you're walking a little straighter and you're feeling a bit more sure about everything that you've done, about the risk that you've taken to be an online coach and to be an entrepreneur and a business owner in today's day and age, that's really where things start to shift. That's really where you start to experience a lot of what even the super wealthy experience. This is where you can start to do things like afford some help around the house, which I would prioritize before you start thinking about help and teams inside of your business, is getting someone to do the chores around your house for you or for your family, getting someone to cook for you and or for your family, getting a personal trainer in the gym so that you stay active, getting someone to drive you around when you're going from point A to point B so that you don't have to take the risk of focusing in on the road and also taking on that stress, and so that you can do something else with that time. I think all of that is way more effective than building a team for most of you in your online business. Because when you start to do all of these things like add in team and complexity and tech and ads and landing pages, you're adding in all of these additional skill sets that may not be your zone of genius and that therefore take you out of your zone of genius. Now you got to manage people and you got to manage ad budgets. Now you got to also be on top of creative. And now you got to be HR and you got to wear more hats than you're already wearing when you add each one of these things in. So you got to be constantly asking yourself until you get your divine answer of what is it that you want. Now, 15K is where you're going to start to experience, to tie this all together, a lot of those life changes. At 30K, things aren't all that much different. At 84K a month, at $1 million a year, if you're averaging that every month, 84K a month is all it takes. Money starts to not be an issue. More of how do you optimize your money and your cash flow so that you don't have unnecessary, is how I'll word it, expenses at the end of every year or every quarter. And what do you do with that money so that that can go and compound for you? But for the overwhelming majority of you, what you experience at 84K a month and what becomes available to you at 84K a month starts to happen between 15 and 30K a month, depending the size of your family. If you're a single individual, probably 15K a month, assuming that you don't highly level up your living expenses, your cost of living, that you add in the right things at the right time, and that you take advantage of the additional time that you buy yourself. Because that's what I would want for you to do at 15K, is start buying yourself time. And that starts with getting a part-time cleaner to come and clean your house once a week. That starts with paying for meal prep or maybe doing Uber Eats, Grubhub a little bit more. Or that's paying for better food and nutrition and supplements so that you can optimize your brain and optimize your body. And all of these things will allow for you to buy yourself more time and to buy yourself more quality of time with that nutrition, with a personal trainer, or getting on a program, investing in a gym or a good gym, maybe building yourself a nice home gym, which we've seen the advantages of over the last few years, and many advantages when you don't have to travel through time and space to get to do the things that you want to do, and building the world around you versus you constantly doing these things and wasting energy and resources going to and fro. If you're an online coach, like, you don't really need a car. You don't really need to level up and get a high-end car. Maybe that's one of your goals, and that's totally cool. But also don't allow for those luxuries to take away from or to hinder the pressure that you make in your online business. There's nothing wrong with constant growth. If you have ambitions beyond $3 to $5 million a year, that's totally cool. I want to get you at that base where that becomes a possibility. And everything that we talk about here is 100% the best way to get on base and get to $1 to $3 to $5 million a year organically. But you got to do things the right way. And a lot of that starts with asking yourself, what do I want? So what do you want? Be pondering upon that and really be asking yourself, is constant growth, is the never-ending constant growth what I want? Or can I learn from a lot of the entrepreneurs when I hear the whispers in their marketing and the whispers in their personal message of how draining it is to chase constant growth? About when is enough enough? About when will I actually be happy, and starting to just be content with where you're at right now and the path you're on, and finding happiness as you go and finding happiness in the present moment. We're getting deep here, but you got to be asking yourself, what do you want? What do I want? Lastly, solo coaching businesses are simple, and simple does scale. If you want to hit $1 million to $5 million a year, I would say that that's a pretty good level of scale. Now, there are people that have $100 million exits and that have $10 million exits or $40 million exits on all and everything in between and $100,000 months. And you can experience those along the way too, but be asking yourself, what is enough and how complex do I want my life to be? How complex do you want for your life to be? So solo is simple and simple scales, and running and creating a lean business where you're the star of the show, where you help your audience through deep pains and problems, and you become the center of their world as you're helping them through these problems. And as you build an audience of 1,000 raving fans, which is all this takes, that can help you to get to scale faster if that is your goal. And I think that makes scale even easier. Let's say that you're hitting 50 to 84K a month, and you're doing that as a solo business owner. Think about how much more you're taking home. Think about how much easier it would be to add in new people when the time is right to be helping you, whether that's contractors, whether that is bringing actual employees or virtual assistants into your online business. Think of the systems that you would need to make that happen and to optimize yourself and to optimize your business, and how much easier and how much more sense it would make to add people in. So I would say that this idea of a solo coaching business, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about over these coming episodes, I would say that this is your surest path to having a business that is scalable beyond those things if you have ambitions of having a $10 million a year coaching business or having a business that's capable of selling for X amount of money. Because when you can learn to operate with less and you get more out of yourself, you're going to create the kind of culture that's necessary that calls people to play a bigger game when you do hire them, and that causes for people to treat you a certain kind of way because of how you treat yourself and because of how you treat your systems and how you're systematic in your thinking, in your operating, and in everything you do from the top down in your online business. Solo coaching businesses are simple, and I would dare say it's your most surefire path to getting to $3 to $5 million a year. And then when you get there, you can make all different kinds of decisions, or you might just find that you're loving how things are going. Why complicate anything else and find other ways outside of coaching to compound your wealth, to build your generational wealth, and having coaching be that stepping stone and creating a business and a lifestyle that you love along the way. In the next episode of Client by Client, I want to talk about how to be ruthless about your success in your online business. Whenever you are ready, here are 3 ways I can help you grow your online business. First, download your free copy of GetBookedCRM. Coaches, are you still managing your leads and pipeline from Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger, and your email inbox, where you're leaving leads in the cracks and you're leaving a lot of money on the table every single month? That's why I created GetBookedCRM. What started out as a free way for me to manage my pipeline and turn prospects into clients has quickly become the favorite tool of my private students and many members in the Leverage Coach community. Get leads and turn them into clients in half the time. And no, this isn't go high level. For your free copy now, just find me over on Instagram and send me the letters CRM. Second, join my free group for online coaches. I've got hundreds of coaches from all over the world in varying coaching niches, all implementing my methods and strategies for starting and growing their online coaching businesses. Get access to them, access to me, and access to resources to help you grow your online business and implement systems, structures, and mindsets to do it smoothly. For your free invitation now, just find me over on Instagram and send me the word group. Lastly, become my next success story. I'm getting a couple coaches together this month to implement my methods and frameworks for injecting a minimum of 15K worth of new clients or doubling your existing client roster base over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But working with the right people is super important to me. So only respond to this if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts the person ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 6 months to a year. You'd like to get 3 to 5 clients organically from social media every month without wasting money and time on paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social platform, Facebook group, or email list. You're willing to take bold action because you know that your success depends upon it. And last but most importantly, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want you to grab your phone right now and tap on that Instagram app icon. Find me at What Up Jeremy and binge on some content while you're there. Give me a follow and then send me the words case study. When you do that, I'll ask you a couple questions about your online business, about your vision for the next 12 months. Then I'll share with you what we have coming up this month, about how we're already helping students from all over the world to implement my methods and frameworks for getting clients organically every single month. And then we'll identify what part of the program will likely make the biggest impact on your business the soonest. That way you know what to expect. For all the details now, just find me over on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy and send me the words case study. That's it for this episode of Client by Client. See you in the next one. Cheers. All right, team. Keen to hear your thoughts over in the comments. What was most insightful? Drop your comment in. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Cheers.